Hi, my name is Nik Zahrin Batrisha binti Nik Muhammad Syafriman.
Hi, my name is Indah Kristina binti Nik Ruslan.
Hi, my name is Siti Mardamia binti Zunaidi.
Hi, my name is Siti Nur Asma binti Cik Zainal.
Firstly, I will talk about the definition of human resource management. Human resource management is personnel or people management is an early name for human resource management. Its functionality is quite limited. HRM is a structured method of managing people in any firm or organizations. It is an important component in every organization management. The practice of managing an organization's human resources or its workforce is known as human resource management, HRM. It includes finding, selecting, and employing personnel and providing them with training, development, and management to achieve organizational objectives. Next, I will talk about the different classification of jobs in Malaysia. First and foremost is administrative and diplomatic officers, PTD. PTD officers are responsible for enacting policies. The second one, management and professional, MNP. MNP executive are responsible for offering technical and professional experience in areas including finance, law, engineering, and information technology. Lastly, support group, clerical and support staff. Support staff are responsible for performing office duties including data entry. Next, I will talk about the different services group and grade. Service groups are service clusters distinguished by role priorities, comprehension skill principles, and academic degree requirements for jobs. The public sector is divided into three service groups: top management group, management and professional group, and support group. According to the rules of the new remuneration system (SSB) and later the Malaysian remuneration system (SSM). So, what is the definition of job analysis? Job analysis is the systematic process of obtaining and examining data about a job or position is in an organization is known as job analysis. The goal of a job analysis is to determine the primary duties, function, and requirements of a position as well as their knowledge, talents, and skills required to perform it successfully. Job descriptions are the building blocks of various human resource management procedures, including recruitment, selection, training, performance management, and compensation, are created using information gathered from job analysis. The job description for legal officers in the Malaysian civil service usually includes the following duties and responsibilities. First is providing legal advice, conduct legal search, representing the government in court cases, arbitration, hearings and mediation, consult with outside legal counsel, create and implement legal policies, ensure legal requirements and comply with and provide instruction and direction. So for the job human specification is a legal officer is in charge of offering legal counsel and assistance to a business or organization. Depending on the size and style of the organization, The job description for a legal officer may vary, but it often includes the following. Firstly, expertise in pertinent laws and rules, analytical abilities, attention to detail, research abilities, social abilities, ethical requirements, creative problem-solving abilities, and experience. These are two things for remunerations. Firstly is salary scheme. What is salary scheme? Salary scheme is the amount set aside for public sector employees, as their basic salary is based on the idea of a decent income to meet their needs for food, clothes, and housing. Secondly is for fixed allowance or incentives. Fixed allowance is civil service stipend, housing rental assistance, and entertainment allowance are all included in fixed allowance. According to the payment principles and standards, payments are made each month.
Next, I will explain about training and development. Human resource management defines employee training and development as a system used by an organization to improve the skill and performance of its employees. It is an educational tool that combines knowledge and training to improve worker performance by refining previously acquired skill and introducing new ideas and knowledge. There are many job-related training programs available for legal officials that may be helpful for career advancement. The first thing first is legal writing and producing. Documents play an important role in the practice of law. So, the legal writing is a critical skill that legal officers must master. Legal texts are simple. The texts that appear in official legal documents that deal with legal issues. Since a legal officer is in charge of producing legal document, contract and agreement, legal writing and drafting abilities are essential. Legal officers may be able to develop their writing abilities, appreciate the value of clarity and precision in legal writing, and learn how to organize and structure legal documents with the aid of a training program that focus on legal writing and drafting. Topics including legal research, writing persuasive, pleading, creating context, and comprehending legal jargon and terminology could be included in the course. Secondly is compliance and regulatory training. Legal representatives are in charge of ensuring that the company complies with an applicable rule and law. Legal officers could learn how to implement compliance program and keep up with the most recent rules and regulations that affect their organization by participating in a training program that focus on compliance and regulatory training.
Hi, my name is Patricia, and I will be explaining about discipline. The definition of discipline is discipline which frequently takes form of rules and punishments is a sort of training that increases people's willingness to obey or ability to manage themselves. Employee disciplines means a regulation that could avoid harm to one's actions. These are good procedures and rightful actions to control employees' behavior so that it can avoid bad behavior to maintain an organization's reputation. Next, I will explain the disciplinary procedures in Malaysia Public Service. The general disciplinary procedures are procedures that are needed to be referred when there are violations on regulations and misconduct by a public service officer. There are various kinds of disciplinary action procedures that are implemented in Malaysia. The actions of the wrongdoings will be taking action by two, which is the head of department's action and disciplinary authority action. Now, I would like to explain about the disciplinary action procedure in cases where an officer is absent without leave and cannot be traced. This is based on SPA Series 3. So there will be two actions involved, which is head of department's action and disciplinary authority actions. For the department action, the worker is absent for 7 days without any trace and without any permission from the manager. So the head of department will give a letter that will be sent to the officer. After the officer receives the letter, he or she needs to report for duty immediately. Punishment will give if the officer does not attend to work. Next, disciplinary authority actions. Their job is to make sure that the officer received the letter that was given by the manager. If they don't receive the letter and is sent back to the department, the authority has the power to punish the officer. Furthermore, I would like to explain the different disciplinary actions to be imposed on the legal officers for the misconduct. Disciplinary actions or employer disciplinary action is when there are issues with an employee's performance or behavior. If this happens, the employer may take disciplinary actions on the employee or officer. Before punishing them, there are some approaches that need to be done. This is because we need to ensure the organization's reputation as well, so that the officer will not be at fault at the end of the day. There are two types of misconduct, which are minor misconduct and major misconduct. For the minor misconduct is loss of privilege. It is the manager's right to let their employee have their own privilege, but when they do something wrong, it can be affected. Some of the employees' privileges may be withdrawn for a given period that had been set in the rules. The privilege that the employee will lose are leave, flexi hours, assigning interesting work, and others. For the major misconduct is pay cut. Pay cut is a financial risk to an employee. This means the reduction of employees' pay for offenses like damage or loss of property of the organization or company. This is also benefit to the company as the payment is not affordable for the company at that time. So, the employee's pay cut is to cover the loss of the company. Last but not least, for discipline is 3 infractions normally associated with legal officers. The first one is professional misconduct. The legal officers can face disciplinary actions for involving in professional misconduct. Professional misconduct happens when someone intentionally violates the regulations and the law of the forensic analysis. The second one is conflict of interest. Conflict of interest happens when a person or organization loses trust because of a conflict between personal or self-serving interests and responsibilities under their job. Legal officers must avoid this situation as their personal interest or relationship could compromise their professional judgment or the integrity of the legal system. Third, and last but not least, is misuse of authority. Misuse of authority is when someone is in a position of power or who is supervises others abuses the power in a way that doesn't further genuine business goals and is ostensibly inappropriate, that is called abusing power.
Now, I will talk about safety and health. Safety and health are the actions taken to ensure that employees are free from any physical or mental illnesses while performing their jobs due to safety and health hazards. This includes taking the appropriate precautions to safeguard employees from injuries caused by work-related incidents. Safety refers to the security or protection of employees against bodily harm brought on by workplace accidents. A safety hazard is an environment at work that could cause injuries, loss of hearing, vision, or other senses to employees. On the other side, health refers to a person's independence from a physical or mental sickness brought on by their profession. Health hazards mean the risk in the working surrounding that slowly and over time reduce workers' health. While dealing with legal issues is the primary responsibility of a legal officer, there are certain potential health and safety risks in this line of work. The first is ergonomic hazards. In general, every person spends more time at work than at home, even while eating or sleeping. We sit at the same desk with our back to it for a long time. The same is true for legal officers. They commonly perform lengthy computer-related tasks while sit at a desk, which might present a number of ergonomic concerns. Prolonged sitting can result in musculoskeletal disorders such as carpal tunnel syndrome, neck pain, and back pain. Poor workstation design, poor posture, and repetitive movements made when typing or using a mouse can all raise the risk of this injury. However, regardless of their circumstance, they are all frequently in awkward or prolonged situations. Secondly, psychological stress. Pressure on legal staff has become a common problem in organizations. Legal professionals may experience psychological stress due to factors like long workdays, challenging cases, and client interaction. Although society views these professionals as people who take care of other people's problems, the truth is that their work comes with a psychological cost that eventually catches up with them. They could have to handle difficult clients and emotionally stressful cases while having to work under time pressure. This issue can lead to increased levels of tension, worry, and even exhaustion. Researchers have shown that stress levels differ between criminal and civil lawyers, according to the Journal of the Indian Academy of Applied Psychology. This is due to the duties and nature of the position. It's a problem that needs to be controlled because it not only affects the ability to succeed in the legal profession, but also increases the risk of physical health problems. Last but not least is occupational exposure. The Occupational Safety and Health Administration defines workplace exposure as reasonably foreseeable contact with potentially infectious materials such as blood or toxic chemicals. However, they should be protected from occupational hazards even if their job requires handling potentially hazardous items. Legal officers may be exposed to potential risks in the course of their work, particularly if they work in certain areas. For example, risks associated with exposure to hazardous substance or environmental contamination may exist for individuals who handle toxic tort or environmental law cases. Similarly, legal officers involved in criminal law may be at risk of violence or confrontation. Now, I will tell about relevant preventive measures and precautions to minimize the risk. Although legal officers may be exposed to a variety of risks, it should be emphasized that the nature and extent of these risks may vary depending on the work environment, the scope of practice, and individual work habits. To reduce these risks and promote a healthy workplace, it is critical that law enforcement officers and their employers place a high priority on safety, health, and wellness. The first thing first is legal officers spend a lot of time at desks and working on computers every day, which can lead to repetitive motion and ergonomic strain injuries. Such hazards can be difficult to find. The widest range of work styles should be supported by a variety of adjustable chairs, desks, keyboards, and the other items. To ensure a perfect fit for the workplace, employees should be instructed in the setup and use of adjustable equipment. As you can see, these ways help the employees to avoid ergonomic hazards. Secondly, consult a psychologist. Recognize the importance of mental health and educate people on how to manage stress, develop resilience, and find a healthy work-life balance. To foster a culture of encouraged help seeking, incorporate workplace counseling into your employee wellness strategy. Legal officers need to take care of their mental health to be effective. They should recognize both problems and possible solutions. Although some stresses cannot be changed, certain techniques can help reduce their impact. Due to the nature of their work, legal officers often work under great pressure. The overall job performance of legal officers can be improved by working with psychologists to help them develop effective coping mechanisms, manage work-related stress, and maintain their mental health. Psychologists can indeed help develop effective stress management strategies. Last but not least is training and education. The elimination or reduction of hazards associated with the work environment of judicial officers is necessary for the prevention of occupational exposures. Legal officers should receive thorough education and training on workplace hazards, safety procedures, and best practices. This includes being aware of potential hazards, properly handling hazardous products, and being aware of safety procedures. Legal officers should be trained in proper safety procedures and protocols to avoid occupational exposure. This includes learning how to safely handle hazardous items, appropriately use personal protective equipment, and effectively manage emergencies or incidents.